subject, autism. Written in 2015, yo. It appears in the world of human anatomy is rising. The scene where all negative abuse of words needs revising. The number span of the year 1900 to now is when the spectrum known as autism has affected us all. The lack of social interaction and verbal, nonverbal communication breaking the human spirit altogether. That battle has become very real. We struggle to labor for acceptance and education and abhor the negative backlash. Our autistic generation continues to rise while this planet cleans out the cruel and heartless jackasses. Some have issues with the outside world, but possesses the heart of brilliance. Every man, woman, and child in the disability world has a gift of unimaginable intelligence. I, as an individual with Asperger's, have stood against adversity with the late spirit of the people I know. My unbreakable bond with the father and the patriotic deeds for the troops and the flag stalkers need to shut the hell up and show some respect. You wanna know what I do? I do more than writing a message in poetry, though. I designed as many banners or birthdays, perhaps, when I turned to a certain age of existence. I memorized dialogue from film, cartoon, comedy stand-ups, and sports commentary like these two examples. You don't ever forget that I've been a five-time WCW champion. That is Booker T. Second.
Well, kiddies, I'm afraid our designer hanger offer has expired. Will somebody please give Mr. Deliberate out of here? Next up on the Home Choppy Network, it's time for the Crypt Keeper's Fashion Boutique. Today we're featuring my full-on Acme V Dead Care products. We got everything from face cream to mascara. Try some. It's the best thing you can do for them eyes.
I have the ability of making beats and cleaning out the offensive language of the audio machines, in which I now find out that AI is taking over, which is not a bad thing to me. To all you bullies out there, especially that stupid ass bitch Michael Savage who say that autistic children needs to be warped, listen up and listen to me good. Fuck you. Fuck your plan you fluent on. Fuck your desperate plan to be popular than others. Fuck your family who do not raise you right. Fuck your decision to bully the disabled. Fuck your disrespect for the troops and the nation's flag. Fuck your hatred for the law enforcement. Fuck you all to hell. This is America. And the families of all individuals with special needs deserve to live here and to do what others do. This is the future the Father created for the people in need. Now get the fuck out of this planet, or you'll get your ass whooped. All the way to a goddamn execution. Poem number 2, inspired by the Starliner event of February 11th, 2022. Servants to the brigade. Here is a note on it. In my personal belief, the 1980s were a wild and lawless era for one thing, the punk rock culture. You see, a lot of shows during that time can be enjoyable, but not for what they seem to be for some. Fights, crowd surfing, smash guitars, you name it. This is the poem, yo. We are under the command of Henry Rollins, the Black Flag soldier of Washington, D.C. from 1981, forcing us to rise above the corrupt society's bullshit. As he says to us, we are sick of their political abuse. The suicidal tendency still lives, as the propaganda of today not only attempt to brainwash us to not believe real history, like the damn Republicans who dare turn us against one another, they're fucking with all of us subliminally. The TSOL has stood by the word in their note. America, land of the free, free to the power and the people in uniform. So many of our men dying in war. They say the government must be abolished for not protecting us. When in the fuck are they going to wake up not knowing what they have done? Daryl Gates, party troubles, car theft, revolt fights everywhere. The rock houses built by the circle jerks man destroyed us. To all the punk rock faithful who kept the culture and fashion alive, including our very own Amalia Ortiz, this is Black Flag's war, because in the battlefield, we are one of them.
This is new-ish shit, but I did it last week, so alright. I could never be an astronaut when my home planet still makes me so nauseous. Pen to paper, field notes, the intelligent life here confounds me, I study it. I can never be an astronaut when my giant leap feels like one small step in my home planet's gravity, centripetal force grounding me. Good thing Armstrong pressure feels comforting. I can never be an astronaut when my home planet is overstimulating enough, even though I stand constantly. The thought of restless legs in hot spacesuit, weightless in a vacuum that smell like burnt cookies and metal sounds like sensory overload. When I'm aware of my socks all day and I think so hard about where my eyes go, I know I can never be in space. They say no one can hear you scream. The mask I wear on my home planet serves the same purpose, so I know I could never wear a helmet over it. I could never be an astronaut when I miss cues from mission control. Sometimes I feel like an unmanned vessel. I float and dark matters ruminate enough here on Earth. I could never be an astronaut, but sometimes I think I could be an alien. Left on a doorstep to be raised by neurotypicals, lanky appendages I thought I'd grow into, but I still moonwalk, stumble with my two left feet. I could never be an astronaut, even though I've spent my whole life trying to be. And the second one, it's one of my favorites, and some of you probably heard it, but I wrote it well before I was identified as autistic, and then the more I do it, the more I'm like, oh shit, that's so autistic. Okay, here we go. I remember it. Discovery setting preferences, GPS slid down to a 5-mile, 3-mile, 1-mile radius. I would right swipe you so hard, but I couldn't find your profile. I sat with my phone at the least obvious angle I could as I compared your face to each profile pic. There were a couple of clicks, to be short, I won't lie. There were a couple of right swipes I couldn't live with myself had I resisted. It's just, you look like the creative type. Lipstick prints on coffee lids so perfectly pulled as if they were the work of an artist. Sips between long stretches of work on your laptop. All that typing, it makes me wonder what you're so busy with. And I think to go over and ask you what your words per minute is, how fast are those fingers? But what a strange question to get from an obvious lesbian. It's just, I wanted to talk to you, and that's not what I meant. Excuse me, my dork is showing. It's that social awkwardness. I've tried to Google MD away reading about social etiquette since Jeeves was around to ask. And if my spatial reasoning isn't failing me, I'd say that during one point in the evening, you were less than 10 steps away from me. I actually counted them as I walked past you on the way to get those napkins that I don't need. It's just, you look like you appreciate punctuation in complete sentences. Like, we wouldn't have to communicate through clumsy thumb typos. You wouldn't have to use phonetics to read my text message, because here and now I know you're worth the time it takes to edit with asterisks. My jokes, my opinions, my posts will be well crafted. If I could only get you to tell me where do I follow you at, and I'm up. I turn and step in your general direction, but at an angle that still allows me to pretend like I'm meant to be somewhere else in case I need a favor to get more napkins. Okay, Cupid, where are you? Because I could use a push from your bow. Angle me, point me, send me off with the confidence I get from only a moment to edit to seem calm and collected. The second I gather my wit before I hit send me into the pond where I was promised there'd be plenty of fish. Send me, shoot me into the crowd. As I fall by, I'll shake my head left and I'll nod when it's right. It's 4D Tinder in here virtually reality. Why is FaceTime so hard at my worst? I'll admit that I once sent a text to a pretty girl who was in the same room with me. Pivot and neck. Those napkins that I don't need. A handful to clean up a mess I was too afraid to make. See, before I arrived today, I self-assessed in the mirror, wishing I could crop. I wish so hard I could filter. You should know that my left side, it photographs best. If only I could tell you, where do I follow you at? This is where you say, go poet. Hold on. Oh, you see the real me, but just a 10-second delay, the time it takes for me to say the right thing, the time it takes for you to pack up your laptop and head for the door, the barista calls out, thank you. I hope to see you again. But he doesn't mean it as much as I do. Discovery setting preferences, GPS slid back up to a San Antonio size radius, literally searching for a person that I was 10 steps away from. I'll be sure to like her if I ever get the chance. Thank you.
How many poems do I got? Two? Don't worry enough. I'm gonna read my two favorite ones. One's in this envelope, folder, whatever the hell this is. One you probably heard before because I read it all the damn time. But we're gonna say screw it, we ball, and read it anyways.
Yeah! Screw it, we ball! Fuck it!
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, it's called Comeback Story. Never call me a comeback story. I've always been here. I've always been fighting. I've always been shouting out. I've always been standing tall with my head held high and my fist in the air like a champion. Even when there's rain, I'll be here. Even when there's pain, I'll be fighting. Even when there's noise, I'll be shouting. Even when I fall, I'll stand tall with my head held high and my fist in the air like a champion. Do not ever call me a comeback story. It's not my fault you forgot I was here. And this is the poem I wrote specifically for Autism Awareness Month. Anyways, as someone with autism himself, I don't like being treated differently than others. So this was called Treat Me Human. I don't care if I see the world differently than you because of how my brain is wired, just don't treat me differently. I don't care if the world sees me as neurodivergent while it sees you as neurotypical, just don't treat me differently. For I do not see my autism as a card to be played against you. However, I do not see my disability as a disadvantage in this game of life. Though there are times where I believe myself and others like me must be accommodated, and I believe accommodations are important, special treatment is different than accommodating. Special treatment is treating me differently. And maybe it's because you pity me for my disability, but as I've said before, I don't see my disability as a disadvantage. So I don't need your pity. Please don't treat me differently. For at the end of the day, I may not be like you, and you may not be like me. But we are all human, so don't treat me differently. Treat me human.
So I asked God to bear with me. I was nursing my voice back from Saturday. I got 3 pieces. Let's start with some sad shit. She said I wasn't her cup of tea or whiskey or old-fashioned. Said my ultra focus on certain topics were too much too soon. Or maybe she didn't say it with words. She said it with a meme or such. But I remember she stared a lot while I sat there thinking maybe something was wrong because you see, maybe a part of me knew I was at a disadvantage already. And I can smell words foaming in someone's mind while words far from the truth form in someone's mouth. This wasn't me just being nervous on a date. This was nerves, but also my autism that sits at the tip tip of my tongue, that when people come up to me and say my words mean so much and they love what I say, they love what I say from afar. Because my bluntness comes off too rude, or like maybe there's some things not everyone needs to know, like how they're as old as my mom, or how my sister is a recovering addict, or how my nephew and niece are practically mine and come first, or how I was raped as a child, or how platypus is Spanish, in Spanish is ornitorrinco. You see, first aid jitters is cool, but mine are different. I sat there thinking it was a bad choice, my back was towards the door, counting how many tables near the bar we were, or how we were there way over time when the restaurant closed, and I panicked, thinking they'd come over and ask us to leave. Or maybe gaps of silence shouldn't be this long, so I panicked, and I overtalked, almost uttered how I was too nervous to eat. Because what if you were like me and counted how many times I moved my food, or when I counted how many chews it took for you to swallow your food, or how many times you blinked, and I smiled. So I thought, have you ever asked someone autistic to smile on point? I practice my smile at times because I wish it was natural, because sometimes what I feel doesn't match the 43 muscles needed to smile underneath my 7th cranial nerve. And then I panic, what if people can tell I'm a fraud? I realize now why I loved collecting Where's Waldo books as a kid, because maybe I thought it would be hard for others to spot me. But apparently sometimes we don't succeed, and that first date became the last, because I don't know how to read first kiss attempts, and again maybe I was too much too soon, or maybe as much as I wanted to be an old-fashioned, all along I was meant to be a 310 to a yuzu, or a new Japanese whiskey. But regardless, I wasn't your cup of tea. And it took me a few weeks to reread messages, cry, and not for you, for me, for missing the social cues. But here we are, and I realized that through my autism, though my autism wasn't a part of someone's once in a person, that it's okay, because I can't always mask my autism, and sometimes at the end, it's what makes me special. So this next one I'm just going to read for kicks and to be funny. And the last one will be another autism piece. I grew up as a kid thinking food was a love language. Every time my parents failed or there was tragedy or I did good in school, food was a prize. As you can tell, I got straight A's. I was gordita riding in the back of a cop car eating a cupcake as a 3-year-old because mom decided to put only one and then leave me in the car while she dropped something off at home. You bet your ass I walked back to that gas station and got another cupcake. Hence my stage name, Cuppycake. And surprise, surprise, cabrones, I'm still a fat girl now. But our cultura loves playing mind games. For example, if my prima asks how I've been and I say, I really should have been that fashion designer I wanted to be because these brands out here making trash, and while I'm a big girl, tell me why she answers, you're beautiful, cuz. Bitch, when did I say I was ugly? And retail shopping is bad. Tori most of the time trying to make me look like wallpaper on a damn fucking couch. I'm meant to carry flowers, not be flowers. And then we have our tias or viejitas metiches that at the end always get it wrong. I've been stopped twice in an elevator and one day with one lady telling me the always usual, mija, tengo un té que te va a ayudar a adelgazar. I have a good diet tea you're gonna lose weight with. And then the second one the same day saying, it's gonna be a girl. How many months along are you? Bitch, since when the fuck are food babies girls? Okay. On the same day, I told my parents I was going vegan. My mom tells me, no, Juan Gabriel died because he became vegan. Or the usual, you look like you've been putting weight. But the moment a stomach bug hits me and I lose some weight, you need to eat something. The moment my dad tells me that my stepmom sent him to compliment me on a dress whilst I was wearing crop tops made me realize that age doesn't matter to them. At the end, it's the image you bring. This misconception of how our own cultura loves us so much they want to fix us to survive in this world phased and mind-fucked me for years. Of course, the comment, I'm too pretty for a fat girl never stalled, but thank God this self-love of mine has survived this confusion, and my love language is words. Words that remind me I'm not just fat, that other words like my heart, soul, and mind are more fucking important, that there's nothing wrong with my narrative, and welfare and cruelty to survive is in love. Being gordita is not the one thing I want to fix first. I'd rather fix her machismo, las tías metiches, how we treat our women, how our papas can silence our moms, how we as women have to dress conservative around certain tíos, our homophobic shit, and more. We keep being told we're reinas and chingonas, and it gets sent to the world with a backbone. Because I'd rather feed my daughter self-love and puños de cosas bonitas. We don't even call her gordita. We call her sturdy, healthy, smart, amazing, at times a little toxic, but above all, we call her a child. Not someone meant to carry out superficial shit. Because y'all's insecurities are absolutely not a fucking problem. There are 6 panels on each side of my door at home. I have 18 doors at home. Each side has 6. I lay there worried if anyone knows them. It's 4 a.m. and all I can think of is my doors. I've never been alone. It climbs upon my shoulders and settles in. It didn't have a name. I've just never felt alone. It was there when I count the steps he takes to reach me under the covers. It was there when I count pennies to eat. It was there when I walk graduation stage alone. It's the safest, most reliable thing. I heard the cute stories about how when I wouldn't sleep as a kid, how I'd have fevers per day of excitement when told something, the tragedy of cultured fears of addressing the child's needs, and how it would make you feel as a failed parent, and all I read was your fear. So I stand here with no more fear. There is nothing your judgment can do to me. I now have a name for those fevers I get when I'm excited, or how I become super focused and obsessed with certain things, like Kanye's The College Dropout on repeat and repeat again and again, or me dissecting Lil Wayne's usage of verses like we in the same picture but we all got different poses, or the way I make myself dizzy doing 28 things at once because this world needs it, or maybe at the end of the day it's because my mind needs it. I won't stay still. I no longer apologize for my ways. I think my parents did that already, and they were wrong. I'm definitely not slow. I can count all the times your forehead wrinkles while you try to have a conversation with me, and unlike you and how you judge my autism, I number your unique flaws and appreciate them. I stare in awe that God made y'all that way, and the human body is amazing. And I might have to ask again and again, or clap her for my sake, because my social awkwardness won't be my friend. But I also notice when you roll your eyes and judge me under your breath, because I can be odd, different, and stand out in a crowd. I've learned to tell my son it's okay when people don't say hi or can't acknowledge our filters. I tell him, it's okay, baby, they need time. Maybe all along we weren't the ones that were different. Maybe all this time we just landed in the wrong world, right? So for the moment, we will be kind, sit here, and wait for y'all to catch